No, does it not work? Hey, that works. Guys, I'm really sorry about this. I am just everything. So I know. There you go. Add mod. Done. For some reason. Does that work? No, that just gives me. Oh, motherfucker. Yeah, so hopefully they'll come on here and then that will work. And I think I was muted the whole time. Unmute for some reason. I'm really sorry about that. They're going to shout at me. How is it not a link? That's not a link that works. Don't know what to suggest, guys. I don't paste. Sorry, guys, I can't actually. Yeah. In some weird way, I've logged back in. I've got now got 2 left going out accounts. If I can start the broadcast. Ah. They've left. They're on my channel. Okay, right. Right. Sorry.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Can you get that link to Tony? I don't know why that link doesn't work.
You paste it in the Hangout thingy. I don't know how to get it to.
I might even just have to post it in this chat.
All right. How do I get it to Tony? Oh, wait,
please don't click that link unless you're on the show. Basically.
Hold on, maybe
Tony's here.
I'm sending it. There we go.
Done.
Hey, magic.
That's it. You'll just get kicked.
Yeah, what a nightmare. Right, we're live.
Digby Dan, what have you got to say for yourself?
I don't know where from. But we are live from
Finally.
somewhere, going to somewhere. Have we got any audience? Because
Oh wait, there we go.
they were audio.
This is
and
the
we're on now.
latest. This is longer than Rotor Riot. You have someone who matters. This
Right.
wasn't my fault.
So, what are we going to chat about? I guess is the question.
Tony, do an intro.
You're
If
the
everyone
intro
knows.
guy. I'm like pulling my hair out at the moment, and I've got none.
Well, I need to go
No,
back
just you've got a
to
bit here. You got a bit here. Get that. That'll work.
yeah.
That's coming
Right,
up.
so I've
My quad injury.
How? How did you get an injury?
I got flown into at high speed.
Ouch.
Yes.
Did you get the eyes then? Were you wearing goggles at the time or not?
I wasn't. No.
Ooh. Yeah, no, I had one close encounter when I was out in Spain last year. And had a
Have to talk
cable
about this.
from the goggles in the pocket of the battery connector. And
Yeah.
then I went down to pick my quad up and the cable caught my arm switch. And then as I went to like disarm it, the cable was underneath the throttle as well. And it throttled up and then the quad line lifted off the ground into my goggles and that zipped off into the air. That was pretty close. So there's a scratch on the bottom of my goggles that would have otherwise been my eye if I wasn't still having my goggles on.
Mine was on my chin.
Yeah.
It was someone flying 5S with a GoPro, with a carbon quad.
That would have hurt.
Yeah, it hurt, and I went to hospital. But it was just lucky. It was an unfortunate thing. I think the person has learned by their mistakes. I hope they have. It was just one of them things, really. I was just completely lucky that it hit my chin. Anywhere else, I would have been.
Yeah. I think everybody doing all this sport, and same with the planes and helicopters, always has some random minor injury, and then you take more care over
I don't hold it against the guy. I'm not going to ever tell anyone who it was. It was just a bad thing. What happened? And
yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
At least the props stop a little bit quicker on the quads than they do on the planes. Those things will take your fingers off.
Yeah.
And
it will.
you've got to respect the big props. I was down somewhere near Southend-on-Sea, like Cavey Island or something like that it was, and they've got a flying club down there, and they've got big props, like yay big, and you're like, I don't want to get in the way of one of those.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. They're scary. So you're not abroad then?
No, not at the moment. In London for my sins.
Right, you little buggers. Hello, you're listening to Let's Go Now.
Oh, here we go.
In the orange shirt. This is Dominic Clifton in the green shirt.
Yeah.
Or Mr Cleanflight, as you know him. Back in the day, it was Base Flight, Robo Cop, and then Time Cop, talking, and then they kind of had a little bit of a, and then Dom was like, I'll tidy this up, rewrite it, and then everyone jumped ship, and the code actually worked. He made fail safes a thing of the past. Interactive LEDs.
There was loads of soft cereal was one of the early things as well. That was a lot of people did that.
Oh man, more you art. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I've dug it out.
Oh yeah. Wait, I've still got mine. This one of my original. This is my Nays dev board still on my desk.
Oh,
woohoo!
With a Hobby King 12 amp.
Oh yeah.
With my test clips and then a test motor set prior to earlier. Right, so guys, you can now carry on because now everyone knows who you are.
All right.
It's normally.
What took you so long to get on this show?
Yeah.
Why did you traitor us and go with Beck first? And you were like slagging us off, calling us out, being like, "Oh, you love race flight." I wasn't even allowed to talk on that episode. I was banned from my own show. What more, other than me saying, like wearing a T-shirt that says "race shy," can you get? I use Kiss.
I must admit, you do not like race flight, do you, Jack?
I don't. It's crap. Everyone, like, it's just shit.
And they're doing a lot of good things, actually. The
Oh.
way they are, no, that's good. No, it's healthy for competition. All this stuff it's good. For a long time, I've thought the configuration of Cleanflight was a pain in the ass. The MSP protocol, for instance, is not particularly well suited for configuration. It's more suited for getting like telemetry and stats and OSD stuff and things like that. It's much better for that. And with Raceflight, for instance, they don't have all this legacy baggage that we do with the whole Cleanflight Betaflight stuff. They don't have any extra clients talking to their code. So what it means is that we have to look after these older clients, and therefore we get stuck with these legacy protocols, which aren't the best ones that we could be using. And therefore our configuration is not as easy and as good as it should be. So for instance, like, you know, the old Immersion RC Vortex, for instance, with the on-screen display and all that kind of stuff, they have their own things for that.
Drop it.
Yeah. But they're doing some good stuff. Like the way that with the race flight boards, you know, when you hold it and it works out the angle of the quad, stuff like that, and the RC setup, it's much better.
Yeah, so does the Storm 32 gimbal. That works out which way you put the IMUs and stuff.
Yeah. So there's all stuff like that. You know, they're doing stuff like that, which is needed for to make it easier for beginners to get into the hobby. For sure.
Yeah, but then Motor 4 stops working and all that stuff. That's what happens, and then your quad shakes around.
Raceflight isn't and set up, isn't it?
The answer to everything is filters.
Yeah, they're not the answer to everything, no.
They're not.
But
it is easy to set up.
Anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. They're all. I mean, do you remember like what it was like a few years ago, like with MultiWii, for instance? I remember you had to get this config file, and you had to go in it, and you had to set a load of settings, and then recompile the stuff yourself. Not like just download some firmware and poke a configuration tool to it, and then away you go. No, you had to go in, get this ini file things, set up this stuff,
and hash stuff out.
Yeah. Oh my god, it took forever doing stuff. It was terrible. So Baseflight was a massive step in the right direction with regards to making that easier with the configuration side of things. With it, that CTN did. Yeah.
I still think my first quad has got Baseflight on it still.
Yeah, I think
my QAV 250 is running Sunny Sky Motors 600 milliwatt massive VTX.
No, 25 milliwatt. We've told you about that, Tony.
Do you want to see my first quad? Do you want to see my first quad?
At Disco.
Yes, there she is.
What rate did you put on that to make it flip? Like you scared me.
I was after a while. Yeah, no, this is great fun. I upgraded this recently to Cleanflight 2 stuff, and was setting it up, and it just didn't fly properly like I used to, and I've got to retune it all to get it right again. And it's like, no, but yeah, like big old immersion RC stuff. I used to fly and flip this thing with like the 1.2 gigahertz giant antennas and so on. That was great. That was a while ago.
I know. Like, I remember
people in Hampstead Heath with that, I tell you.
Oh man! So what have you been working on recently? Because last time I chatted to you, I saw you at the Rotor Riot, London 2 hour.
Yeah. That's right. No, I've been working.
I would say it was a meet. It was more of an afterthought.
Yeah, working on a bunch of things. Working on some new flight controller stuff, as always bringing something new to the party, which I try and do with all the products that I bring out.
Can you give the people?
I can't give too much details on that at the moment, unfortunately, because people steal all my ideas. It turns out. So the way things are with the market these days, because it's so saturated, you have to keep some of the ideas pretty close to your chest until they're ready for mass consumption. Because once you release something, it's basically you get about 2 months before the Chinese come out and just clone all your stuff, which they will undoubtedly do. So I can't talk too much about it, which sucks actually, because one of the things I liked about the whole project is just like doing everything out in the open. So you know, you create something, you work with some great people, you make it even better, you release a product, and you do it, and you can talk about freely what it is. You can get input to it, which can then help the design and get all that better before you release it. Whereas now people hide things, keep them close to their chest, like I have to do. It comes out, and then someone will say, "Why didn't you do this?" And then you were like, "Damn, I wish I'd had that input earlier." But then you can't always get it very easily.
Can you whiz it past the screen, just like?
Nope, I'm not doing it. Nope.
Why? Because they'll stop frame by frame.
Exactly.
Oh,
Not
man.
doing it. No, same. But I can show you. Let's see. A couple of. That's one of my current products. That's one of my hand-built ones. There he is.
Ooh.
That is an F4 Evo with one of the F3 OSD PDBs on it, which is pretty neat.
Is that the thing I saw in the the UK drone show? That thing was way bigger.
No, there's the other one. The other one that I do, which has got the VTX on it. Where
That's
is
like
it?
a hexagon-y shape.
Yes,
isn't it?
yeah, here it is. Is this one? So this is what the stack looks like. Let's get that a bit closer there. Come on, focus. There it is.
There it goes.
There we go. So we got that. That's the Neo stack, which is pretty lovely. It's all soldered on top as well, so you don't have to flip the board over to solder things onto the bottom. You just solder it all from the top, which is really nice.
Which is nice.
There was an F3 version of this out for quite a while, and then there was this mad rush to do F4 stuff. So this is actually an F4 version of it. So there's an F4 on there, and the two things come apart.
How do you feel about, like when Betaflight first, like forks from Cleanflight, Betaflight really took off? How did that make you feel?
There was
was it?
I was quite happy about it because they were trying out loads of good stuff, which I didn't have time for at the time.
No, it was crazy.
One of the big things that they were doing was the ESC programming through reprogramming through the flight controller. Yeah, that was one of the big things that gained it a lot of popularity.
Yeah, that was good.
Put your hand over your camera and then.
Oh yeah, it's gone fuzzy, hasn't it?
Yeah. Autofocus.
Right again. Come on, focus. Has that done it? No.
No.
Come on. There it is.
Yay.
So yeah, they did. They had that, and there was a couple of other things that they basically built into the firmware a little bit earlier, because I think we were working on a bunch of the fail-safe stuff at the time. There's loads of other things going in. So there's loads of cleaning up work that was happening at the same time as all this proof of concept stuff. And then the proof of concept stuff, because people wanted that, they were just using this other firmware straight away.
It was nice to have that pass through though.
Oh yeah, it's great. That is. I was glad when that finally
really
made
nice.
it into the Cleanflight code base as well. But it needed quite cleaning up some of that stuff. So I wasn't quite ready to have it in Cleanflight in its initial state. But it's the problem when you have like a high level of expectations from stuff, then trying to get other developers to match your level of expectations can be pretty tricky, because they don't always understand why do you want it like this? Well, it just works. What's wrong with it? Trying to get the developers to understand that is one of the problems, and then it takes a lot of time to do that with just one developer. And at the time, there was like loads of input to Cleanflight. There was like PRs left, right, and center, and it takes a lot of time to sort of handhold each of the developers through, get their thing through. And by that time, you've got to stack more things ready to go as well, which you need. And then you end up doing just more sort of like maintenance side of things. But if you don't do that, then the developers wander off and go and do something else instead. So it's very hard to balance it.
Tom,
I must say, your workstation area looks much better than Jack's.
Carry on.
Yes. You can't find anything basically if you don't have it. I've got boxes of screws, boxes of VTXs, boxes of flight controller bits. Like, wait, what have we got in here? This is a fun box. This one is. Right, what's in this box?
This is around your house.
What ESCs do you have in that 450 size quad? Is it the DJI 30 amps?
This is like a giant box of like loads of different flight controllers, all required for like testing Cleanflight on. Like There are many, many, many flight controllers in that box. Many.
What do you think about the new AIO boards with the ESC's OSD all on the same board?
ESCs and OSDs on the same board, did you say?
Yeah, apparently.
I haven't seen
The
one of those yet.
AIO boards.
Yeah, no, I've not seen one of those yet. There's like every time you look, there's like some new products. So you can't keep up with it all.
This is
Having all the
the
ES
hobby, isn't it?
on the same board as a PDB doesn't strike me as a fantastic idea, because that's a lot of money to go down the pan if something goes wrong.
What about noise as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that as well. I know this. I mean, the Neo stack has got all the OSD and the VTX stuff on one board, which is about 6 layers of copper away from all the noisy stuff on the PDB, basically, and underneath the bottom of the flight controller. So it's got quite a decent amount of RF shielding just because of that. But having the OSD on the FC isn't the greatest idea, because you've got all the video signals mixed in with all the motor output signals and so on, and that can cause some issues. But the digital protocols help that.
Yeah,
so
I never understood how
much
that.
less of an issue.
Sorry, Jack.
Yeah, I never really understood that.
Which bit?
You can't hear me, can you?
Oh, yes.
Like just having the OSD on the flight controller. It must.
I mean, the thing is, the way that most people are doing the OSDs, you have the Max 7456 chips. There's a couple of other alternatives.
Yeah.
I think Fish Rain or something like that is doing one. I can't remember what it's called.
But then again, these are so fragile, the multi-wii OSDs.
Yeah.
And they always break.
I never, ever got on with them.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times we tried to get them working on my quads and just end up giving up?
Yeah. It's like back in the multi-wii
I
days.
put one on my iNav, and that's running SPF3 Duo, the one I bought from the Nationals.
Yeah, but that doesn't
that time.
bash into the ground at 70 mile an hour and then want to get back up and race again, does it? That's like a
maybe
gentle...
one day when it fails safe.
Well, your return to homes, Jack. Return to home turns into a pile of firewood.
I know. I love that. I was like clicked return to home on a iNav when it first it was really early beta.
Oh right, yeah.
Clicked it and it just landed very quickly.
Excellent.
It was like enough to return to home anyway. Just like that.
I'm just killing a couple of things on my systems to reduce my latency. Yeah, that's better.
Multi-wii OSD needs A caps.
Needs what?
A caps.
Yeah, so I was never happy with the multi-wii OSD stuff, and I was a bit disheartened when one of the Betaflight developers ported the multi-wii OSD code into the core of Betaflight. And I'm like, it's not really the right way of going. I didn't like it, because at the same time, like last year, I'd basically spent quite a while writing a new OSD system from the ground up using the 7456 chip, doing a whole bunch of unit tested code. It was lovely. But unfortunately, that it was fine in Cleanflight and so on. It worked really well. But it didn't have any of the baggage of this old multi-wii stuff, and we sort of inherited some of that old baggage again, which I'm trying to get rid of. But what it did have in the Betaflight stuff was the configuration menu. So there was integration between the flight controller settings and the OSD stuff, which is one of the things I was pushing for quite a while. So then the whole Cleanflight 2 thing happened, and I'm like, okay, let's just use this, and then we'll go with that, and then gradually improve it that way instead of using the Cleanflight stuff.
Yeah, that sucks, man. Because were you part of the vector stuff? Did you do any part of that, or were you still
vector stuff? Which one was that on?
Yeah, I've heard about someone was working on the vector type OSD.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I see what you mean.
It does a weird thing with all the colours and that.
Yeah, I was starting to look at some of this stuff,
but don't know too much about.
Other things had happened basically, and that got put on hold. So the OSD stuff didn't progress much further.
Oh.
So you can't
So-
tell us. You
Damn
can't
it.
tell us your secret squirrel stuff that you're working on at the moment. Then
No, afraid not.
No.
I know it's
You
such a tease,
refuse
isn't it?
to.
Sorry about that.
it is.
One question that's a little bit random, but within
Well, I can
stuff.
say everyone will love it, and it will have things that you've not seen on a flight controller before. So, watch this space.
How long have we got to watch this space for?
Not too long. PCBs went in. They came out of the PCB factory last week, and it doesn't generally take too long once the PCBs are with the assembly house. So obviously, there's going to be like you go through the sample phase where they make them, and then you test them, and then you go into the mass production, and then you test some of and you test those as well. And then they get shipped over and so on. And then I have to do the website myself, and then the manual, and then connection diagrams, and all the rest of it. And then
it must
update
take
the shop, and then they finally get out. So yeah, it takes.
That's a lot of work, isn't it?
It's shed loads. It's shed loads. It keeps you well busy. Too busy sometimes.
I bet.
I like Tina says integrate tri-flight code.
Yeah, the tri-flight stuff I've got. Where's my little? I think it might be in
Did
Spain.
you build that, the mini tricopter?
No, it's a detail. It's over there. I've got not the mini one. I've got about 3 tricopters. I think a couple of them are out in Spain. I think one's in the box up on the shelf up there. There's like on the top up there. There's like that one up there. It's just full
So what you got, baby?
Above it, yeah. There's larger ones. Larger ones. It's like
Fair enough.
a 300 size one, and then a bigger one as well. Yeah.
I just love the
Sweet.
organisation.
You can't find anything unless it's organised. That's the thing. So,
But I turn up at Jack's and say, "Can you fix this, please?" And honestly, he does it. But
I know.
he's probably spent half the time finding the things you need to fix it, though, right?
no, but the funny thing is, it's a mess, but he knows where everything is.
Yeah.
He goes right over there in that kind of stuff. There's a screwdriver, and you look over there, and it's just a pile of motors, but there is a screwdriver in it.
Yeah. I've been moving house so much. It's basically I need all my boxes. These boxes have had the same things in them for like the last year or so. They've got more things in them now, of course, but they've been in my old place in London. They've been in Spain. They've been in Ibiza. They've been in France. Now they've been here, and I know what's in all the boxes and where they are. So that's all right. They just appear on different shelves. So.
Do you still recognise the boxes?
Yeah, exactly. So I know exactly where things are. It's all good.
You've been quite quiet for quite a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been having a very busy year. I was saying earlier that I was in the process of buying a house this year, so that's done. Buying a house involves going around to see lots of other houses that you don't like, and that takes forever, especially when they're in a different country.
Yeah.
So I found one back in May, I think it was. Yeah. So I've purchased a house now, which is kind of weird. Finally, so now basically I've been having to head down doing work to pay for it. So that's been keeping me very busy.
Bit.
Yeah.
Can I ask you some code stuff that I really don't know much about, and you try and explain it to
Go on then.
me, and then also explode Tony's little mind?
Yeah, you need to go Dom, Jack, and then Dumbass.
Yeah. Like,
It might be something that I don't. It might be something I don't know about. There are lots of things in Cleanflight and Betaflight that I don't actually know anything about whatsoever because of the size of the project.
Tom Smith released it's like a little test for programmers, and it's called FizzBuzz.
Oh yeah.
I wondered how would you go about doing that?
I've got
you're
it often comes up
because you have to keep shit clean. Like that's your, that's your modus operandi.
Have you seen the project called Enterprise FizzBuzz? It's hilarious. I actually don't know the FizzBuzz test. It's never been done on me.
Well, can we do it to you now?
No.
Right, so go.
I don't know. No, I don't want to do interview conversations right now. No. No,
mate.
No. I don't know.
Later, can you so that it floods the next Let's Drone Out chat with multiple prime numbers of 4 or whatever.
What is it? Write a program that prints the numbers from 1 to 100, but for multiples of 3 print fizz instead of the number, and for multiples of 5 print buzz. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's probably a bunch of different ways of doing it. It's like, what language are you using? And yeah.
Yeah. What
Interesting.
what was Cleanflight originally written in?
It's always been in C. Yeah, it's always been in C.
Ah.
Yeah, even when the old multi-week code, it was all C stuff, but it was all based around 8-bit processors rather than the 32-bit ones.
What's what BR Heli written in? It's written in something really obscure.
The original stuff is all assembly language, not machine code. That's the next thing you get after you compile assembly language. You get machine code, and the machine code is what makes up your binary.
Did they do that?
Why? Because it's super fast, and it allows them to use much cheaper hardware. So if you get like a processor and you want to sell a lot of these things, you basically want the cheapest thing you can to maximize the amount of profit you can sell on each one. So if you can do it on a cheap processor and save $1 on each processor versus using a high-level language, which requires a much bigger processor generally, or faster processor, then you can basically make more money for each unit that you sell. And if you're selling 4 at a time to every person that buys a quad, that's like $4 you might be losing if you went with a more expensive processor. But the trade-off is then you have to write the code in a language which isn't as necessarily flexible. It's certainly much harder to refactor assembly language code than it is C, for instance. Yeah, so that's why you go for it. It's just to reduce costs normally, or you want ultimate performance out of the processor that you've chosen.
Yeah, because now
are you still flying? Because I haven't seen you at the last competition I saw you at. You crashed into me.
He's really sore about this.
I'm not sorry
On about that. Every time he fucking sees you, like
bloody Mr. Cleanflight. Bloody Mr. Cleanflight.
Yeah, with a phone. He was just like, go back to base.
Where was that? Where was that anyway?
That was at iDrone event. It was the London event when Metal Danny come over. It was West London, wasn't it? It was
decades ago. Dom,
2 years ago.
Basically, Tony made me remove his processor chip.
Yeah.
On his race flight board, and then he scratched into it underneath it. Fuck you, Mr. Cleanflight. And then made me put it back on. That was his sole reason, but this will annoy him. Like the schizo board's got the little logo, like Tony's has got.
It was at the iDrone event when we were at West London, semi-finals. I remember.
Oh, you mean sorry, I thought you meant crashed you personally, but crashed your quad.
Yeah.
Right, yes. I was like, I don't remember crashing into you. Yeah, because we were talking about it a bit ago. It's like with injuries and so on.
You got
that's right. Yeah, no, there was. Yeah, that's right. That did happen, didn't it?
Yeah, we were at the semi-final.
Yeah.
Mr. Cleanflight. Dear.
And people are taking me out. You can't get too fussed about it. Shit happens when you're racing, doesn't it?
I know. So, it was. At least I got taken out by Mr. Cleanflight. It was pretty cool.
Could have been worse.
You know what I mean? It could have been.
So you asked, am I still flying very much?
Yeah.
Not too much, but I did get one of these little things. Unfortunately, and really annoyingly, I found out that it was a clone after I'd bought it. I'm like, God damn it. Even I have clone stuff because you can't even tell because there's so many of them. So apparently the frame is a clone of an English one, which is really, really annoying. Because I certainly wouldn't have bought it. It's the eSheen Aurora 90, but that's a clone of. I need to give a shout out to them actually. I've got to remember who it is. It's like a 90 mil frame. I'll find it in a minute or something.
Will the new FC of Cleanflight be for racers also?
It's for everybody. All my products are always for everybody. That's how I roll.
Please put that in the manual. This board is for everyone, including.
Yeah, I mean, it always have been. So, like, most of my boards are the only ones that you can find that've got 8 motor outputs, for instance. So, like, there's not many F4 boards that have got 8 motor outputs. It's like,
do you know what you're really good for?
Go on.
Is not linking up UART with the I2C ports and separate LEDs.
Yeah. Always.
You're a good boy. You're a good boy.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, no, is the stuff that takes ages. So what I see on a lot of hardware designs is they get a board, they get a processor, they stick the processor somewhere in the middle, and they basically go, okay, I need a pin in this corner to go to a motor there. I need a pin in this corner to go to the motor there. I need a pin in this corner to go to the motor here, and so on. But those pins that you pick on the corners of the chips aren't necessarily the best ones for allowing you to do lots of other things with the board at the same time. So my designs pay more attention to the features that you want out of the processor and the ability to do all the different things you want, rather than the actual routing of the tracks on the PCB. It's obviously a lot quicker to just get a PCB and then just map them to the corners and so on, because you can get it into production no problem. You can use cheaper boards with only two layers and things like this. So there's quite a few reasons for doing that, but you don't normally find me doing that kind of stuff. Mine are always much more involved.
White Spice says RFCs are 12 layer now.
12 layers,
apparently.
That's crazy.
White Spice.
Yeah, factories and beans. I have got a question, because like when you did a lovely explanation of like like you had your oscilloscope, you ran it in parade, and you kind of like Cleanflight kind of came big when One Shot happened. Out like the story of how that started, because One Shot was first available on ESCs, and you had to solder a jumper, and they worked really well with the KISS boards on multi-Wii, and then like you upped loop time or something, and then everything just came on fire.
Right, yeah,
and I've always wanted to be like, what went wrong? Like, what happened?
How do you mean with the One Shot side of things? Well, I think time like a real sort of I found it. I'm going to show this in a minute to Paul. I
love this.
So
one day there's going to be a museum, and it's pretty much going to be in Spain.
It's great. He'll know what it is when he sees it. It's brilliant. So the One Shot stuff, that was quite interesting. There was a lot of experimentation going on at that time. I quite like the idea of One Shot.
What does One Shot do?
It basically just instead of like a continual pulse or continually changing pulse, it basically just sends the pulse on an as needed basis. So basically you change the PID output, and then that output is immediately sent to the motors. That's the basics of it. Whereas the PWM signal, it basically just continually sends the signal to the motors. And what happens is you update the motor, the PID output, and then some time passes, and then the motors get told about it. And that's what happens with PWM. Whereas what you want is the motors, well, the ESC specifically, to be updated and told about the new state that it should be at as soon as possible. And that's what One Shot addressed.
What is the best?
It wasn't necessarily the best design, because
One Shot, multi-shot, and D-Shot.
D-Shot, basically. You want a digital protocol.
But even Chad, the final glide Oz says he can't tell the difference when he's flying.
No, that's right. You probably wouldn't be able to on a lot of them. But the thing is that D-Shot is much more resilient to noise. So with PWM and One Shot, they're analog signals. So basically they work by the ESC timing the signal that it receives. So with an ESC, you have variations in how the clocks run. So, like most clocks in the world agree that a second is a second. Yeah. But when you're talking about like really minute parts of a second, and you're talking about
sorry, I can see the little hamster in his head.
When you're talking about a second is this big, when you split it up and you got a bit of a second like this, there's variance in the clocks of the processors that are in the ESCs, and the ESCs change in temperature quite a bit as well. So what happens with a processor and when the temperature changes is that the clock changes as well. So it doesn't think a second is a second anymore, essentially. So then it starts mistiming or misinterpreting the signal that is on the line. So the flight controller is sending it out, but the ESC is misinterpreting it, and you don't get a great
there's a
picture of what the actual time is. So D-Shot.
There's a clock right there, Tony, and it's not round and it hasn't got any face on it.
Yeah. I said clock, not Venus.
Yeah,
go on. Sorry, Dom.
So one way to address this is to use the oscillators, like Jack just pointed out on that part. But a lot of old ESCs don't have external resonators, And the resonators have basically like a little bit of crystal inside them, and they can work out how fast it's resonating.
Mind's blown. He thinks the Earth's flat.
On an oscilloscope, the signal looks like a sine wave. It's great. It's fascinating.
Doesn't know
So
what a sine
D-Shot
wave is,
addresses
Dom.
this by not using clocks in the same way.
Right.
So basically, a signal is broken down into a digital signal, much like CDs do with versus like a record player.
Yeah.
So basically, you can copy it a million times and it'll always retain the original signal, for instance. And same applies to D-Shot. You can forward it on, you can send it over larger distances if you want to relay it, if you wanted to. But importantly, the information has got some way of essentially being verified with the form of checksum. So the signal is sent out that says, right, spin the motors at 50%, say.
Yeah.
And previously, with a one shot, that could be misinterpreted as being like 49 or 51% or something like this. With D-Shot, that'll never happen, because if it doesn't receive the whole packet of information properly, it'll just reject it and ignore it.
Okay.
So that's the main thing. But one of the other things it lets you do is instructs the motors to do things. So they're starting to use it in 3D flying as well. So basically, you can use the full range of the throttle and fly in 3D by sending reverse the motors now commands to the ESC. So you can have twice the resolution in 3D flying that you would have had before, which is pretty cool. You can also tell it.
Zoe FPV will like that.
Sorry? Oh, yes, she
Zoe
will. Yeah. She will, yeah. I think there's H-Tech FPV in the Beta Flight channel, which is experimenting with a lot of that kind of stuff. So that's another good reason to use it. Another reason is you can make the motors beep on command. You can just go send a signal to make the motors beep, which is great for the beacon. So you remember in the BL Heli suite,
So you
you
don't
can
need a
configure
buzzer
the
anymore.
beacon timer to be on like after 5 minutes or whatever. So you can essentially use the D-Shot stuff to basically have a switch on your transmitter to turn buzzer on, and instead of the buzzer being an actual buzzer, it'll just make your motors buzz instead, which is pretty cool. Yeah,
That is
so
pretty cool.
You can
A
do
bit
loads of
too
stuff
loud,
with
it
digital
just burns
protocols.
out.
Yeah. Yeah, so D-Shot is for the win. It's definitely the way forwards. I mean, it might not be the be all and end all of protocols, and there's probably going to be some other improvements to that. But having a digital protocol with the CRC on it is the right direction in my head.
There's
And
always
don't forget,
something new.
you don't have to calibrate. Sorry,
Yes,
Tony.
there is that as well. There's no calibration required.
Yeah, which is
The
always
reason that you
good.
calibrate was for the clock variants of the ESCs, basically, so they understand the signal that the flight controller's saying.
Pro shot.
And it
So
all
let
happens
me
so
just
fast.
show this to White Spy. Is White Spy looking in the chat? Hold on. He sent me this like ages ago when Cleanflight was first starting out. It is a current sensor, and he wrote this and he sent me this like ages ago. I didn't even know this guy who it was. I think I ordered something, and he sent this. Can you guys read that?
No.
There we go.
If you talk as well, that's it. Say stuff as well, because the chat
says,
goes on.
many users ask if these power current units work with your software. He sent me this. And the answer today is, I don't know. I've never had time to test it. It's been sat in my box of like random stuff that I use for testing for like a million times, and I've seen it like so many times. It's like in this box of like loads of stuff. It's brilliant. So sorry, Paul.
Will it play music?
What an arsehole.
White Spy says, will it play music?
It can do, yeah. You can probably because you can send a beeper thing, and you can probably also send like a command to say like low, medium, high, or note or whatever like this. So you can probably do that. There has been some improvements, I believe, to the protocol, and it's also nice that the KISS guys and the BL Heli guys are also agreeing on the command set for D-Shot as well. That happened quite recently. There's some new commands, and they're both implementing it in their ESCs and releasing firmware. So it's great to see the collaboration on the ESC side of things.
Yeah, it's always good. I mean, it's good to have healthy competition, but it's always good when when companies agree on stuff.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's
It
a pain
helps.
in the ass for a flight controller, because with the flight controller code, you've got to go, I support this, 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 I support this. And before you know it, your flight controller's got to do loads of stuff. And every time someone adds something new on it, everyone that's writing flight controller stuff basically has to test that it works with this thing and the old thing and the old thing and the new thing and all the different variations of it. So if everyone can agree, then it just makes it a lot easier. And we can delete loads of old code and then fit more things in the core flight controller code.
It's the shame about smart audio and
yeah, that's
what's the other protocol?
Yeah, the other one, the Immersion RC and the TBS one, using different protocols. Yes, it would have been lovely if they got together and said, shall we design a protocol for doing VTX related things, and agreed on it, and then both released products and then said to us, this is how we want to do it, or even asked us what it was at the time. But now we have two different ones, and they're much of a muchness, to be honest, in terms of like what you can do with a VTX. You know, you can set a channel, you can do a pit mode, and you can do a couple of other bits. You know, change channel, change frequency, change pit mode, turn it on and off. Basically, those are the main things you need to do with a VTX, right? And it's not rocket science. So it would have been good if they could have collaborated on that, so we don't have to then support two of them forevermore going forwards.
Yeah. White Spy asks, go to gyro and why?
What is my go-to gyro and why? Well, there's been a lot of talk about gyros. I'm currently favouring the ICM 20602. I've tried, and on various different prototypes, the 6000, 6500, 9250, the 20608, the 20689G, and the 20602. But I'm liking the 20602 for a few reasons. One of the reasons is a cost reason. Another reason is the size of it. It's very, very small. So a lot of people are using it on the really mini things. It's great for that. But some people have issues with the newer ones with the noise, but there are solutions for that. So, I mean, the filtering side of things can help with that, as with, you know, people are talking about filters and so on. Soft mounting can help with that kind of stuff. But the way that the flight controllers and the frames are these days, and the loops that people run, there's just a lot more noise going on in terms of like the frame, and how powerful the motors are has made a massive difference. Because ages ago we were running like DYS 16 whatever it was, and with flappy props and all this kind of stuff, right? And you know, and we were running like 3.5 millisecond loop times and things like that, which is just crazy compared to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And it's the way.
Do you ever look back at some of that stuff?
A lot different these days.
Do you ever look back at some of that stuff but just think, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah, when you get an old quad out, you look at the old config, you're like, whoa, I flew that. Wow.
Yeah. It
was great. We flew it around. It was fantastic. It was brilliant. My disco, when I was flying that was running on 3.5 millisecond loop times. It flew excellently. I was flying it around the Alps. It was great. Loved it.
Oh,
It's not got to go fast though, is it, around a track?
No, probably not. No. I mean, like, not compared to like a 5S monster crazy things that people are flying these days. Oh my god, they're crazy.
Oh, Curry Kitten. I noticed he had some public over copies of the SPF3 board. Told people it was open source, and he argued this.
What was this?
So I was interested to know if you got any further, or are you talking to a brick wall?
Oh, brick wall. Don't buy anything from Banggood. They're evil. They just promote like clone selling basically, and it's yeah, it's hard to find legitimate stuff. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, guys. I keep talking over you. It's so out of sync, this stream.
It is a bit out of sync.
Sorry, I feel like such an arsehole. Should we do this little thing, like put your hand up if you want to talk? You think I can think of?
Yeah, no, Banggood. I didn't get any luck with that when I tried to talk to them. I posted initially on one of their comments section when I saw a clone of my board. and I'm dismayed somewhat to find it. And they actually screwed it up as well. Like, they didn't even do the routing properly. The board was designed to be a stackable board, and they put connectors over where the 2 stacking connectors are supposed to be, and it's like, you muppets. Yeah, they screwed up like buzzer stuff. The quality was shocking, and yeah, it's just they used cheap to find as well when they'd clone stuff. So when I design a board, I use components which are known to be slightly over-specify all the components, basically. And then when you get a clone manufacturer, they basically just go, oh, we don't need a 10 volt capacitor. Let's just use a 6.3 volt one or whatever like this. And it's like, no, you're ruining the design if you do that stuff. So yeah, don't buy the clone boards. They don't contribute anything to the hobby as well. So yeah, I'll make a board, I sit there designing it for ages, spend loads of time writing the software and getting all that kind of things up to speed with it all. And then you release the board, then the board gets cloned, and then the people that walk away with all the money is the cloners, and they don't invest any of it back into the hobby at all. They basically just line their own pockets. So it's not good for the hobby.
No. Can I go?
Good investment in garden furniture and windbreaker jackets. Sorry, go Tony.
You didn't put your hand up, Jack.
That's all right.
Is Cleanflight at the moment, or are you 2 separate entities still?
On the what? Sorry, I didn't catch that. You broke up just slightly.
Are you both Cleanflight and Betaflight the same thing at the moment? Or
very similar at the moment, yeah. So there are differences between them, but very few. So when I get some more time, which isn't right now, I have some plans, but I'm not going to go into the details of it just yet. I'm going to wait and see how things progress. I have a feeling that some of my plans might not be liked by the Betaflight crowd, but some of them will be liked by others. So we're going to see how it progresses. But at the moment, they're very closely linked. So Cleanflight 2.1, Betaflight 3.2 are almost identical in terms of like flight performance and so on. There'll be a new version of Cleanflight out probably slightly after the Betaflight 3.2 comes out to keep them in sync as well. But I think Cleanflight 2.1 is ahead of the latest version, the latest stable version of Betaflight.
But the latest stable version of Betaflight is 1.7, isn't it? Because 3.2, I'm hearing.
I think it's 3.17, yeah.
Having quite a few problems with latest Betaflight.
Yeah, and some of those problems will also exist in Cleanflight, yeah. So
okay, so don't rush. Hold on until it's.
Yeah, I basically was syncing it quite closely, and then there were some other changes which hadn't been properly tested, and that I didn't want those. I didn't trust those features yet, and I'd been doing a lot of my own testing, and I'm like, I don't want those features, but I do want some of these other things. So I kept all the fixes and all that kind of stuff, and that made it into Cleanflight 2.1. And then there's some more experimental stuff which is still happening in the 3.2 of Betaflight.
Okay.
Do you know anything about the active filtering?
Active filtering, I've had a look at some of the code. I haven't delved into it too much, but yes, it's a good idea. So basically, dynamic filtering. I think they call it, not active filtering. So the idea is that the system figures out where the vibrations are, which is good because I've always thought that the notch filter is a great idea, but your quad basically wears out over time. And then it has different vibration properties over time as well because of the way that it wears out. So your bearings get worn, your motors don't run as well as they did, and therefore that changes the vibrations that the flight controller receives and the frequencies that they're received at. You crash your frame a few times into trees or whatever like this, that'll change the properties of the frame as well. So yeah, unless you're retuning it all the time, your initial settings aren't going to be necessarily the best after like a bit of use. So the active filtering helps to combat that, and is also good for new people.
I've posted a question in the chat. You might want to think about that. If you don't want to answer, just shake your head. And then we can always talk about zeros, hot motors. Do you want to? That made me laugh. That Please answer that. That is funny. He'll never listen to this.
I'm banned from the Baseflight GitHub thing.
No.
Did you know that? Yeah.
I know. Yeah,
I was doing backports into Baseflight for the bugs that I found, and then I got banned from it, so I can't comment on anything. I can't do PRs or anything like that against Baseflight. So I'm like, okay, well, that's the nail in that coffin then. I crack on, and then the world cracked on with me.
Write your reply to that, and I will send that to Curry.
What? Oh no.
And no one will ever see it except him. My new motor.
I don't understand. What is Curry Kitten? I don't even know.
What is Curry Kitten? It is the best.
I am
YouTube
living under
channel
a rock at the moment. You guys realise this? There's a mountain of code that I'm living under. It's all up there.
Go onto YouTube.
You are busy.
Type in Curry Kitten and subscribe to him.
This is Curry.
This is sub bomb. Everyone sub Curry Kitten. Review.
I have no idea what Curry Kitten is. What is it?
Curry Kitten. He does like a YouTube review. It's around. He worked on a lizard wizard.
Oh, what is FPV?
And he's just got a charming channel. He's a good guy. I like him.
I do
Subscribe.
like him.
There you go. I'll click subscribe. We'll see what comes up.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I like it. He was flying his wing. He was telling me about he had a Starbucks today. I remember. Yeah. All good, man. Love it. Great content.
Oh, yeah. There was something in that. You reminded me now. There was something on the Baseflight GPL license agreement or something, wasn't there? Yeah, there was that. I remember that.
Yeah, Dominic Clifton.
Yeah, but you can't add things to the GPL license or something like this because it's against the terms of the GPL license or something like that. So it was quite funny. But yes, that's a long time ago. To be honest, I don't even pay any thought whatsoever to all that stuff. It's just like it's just code. Let's just code. Let's all just make things better and code stuff, and it's just going to be good. So I don't worry about all the politics and all this kind of stuff. So I hate all that stuff.
Yeah,
I'd rather just focus on creating cool stuff, basically. Much more appropriate and constructive use of my time.
Sounds like a war's happening above Tony.
yeah. There's someone having fireworks out there, and Junior hates fireworks, and he's currently buried under his bed at the moment.
Oh,
He's quite.
do you want to see if he's all right?
Yeah, he's fine. I've just covered him up. But someone's having a party or something behind me.
Someone's got
a couple of
someone's got new motors and they're getting very hot. Hang on. I
Doing it
remember.
properly.
Yeah, my new motor's getting very hot. Any ideas? They're not connected to a flight controller.
What? That's a bit weird.
Screws don't touch the windings. Any idea?
Did they ever touch the windings? Because that might screw it up. Because if they ever did, then you might have created a short. Yeah, but they might not be now. But if they did, then you might have already squished the winding wire together because it's basically enamel wire. And if you break the enamel off, you can make it short out if you squish the windings together. So if you've done that, then that might be a problem.
Could be D.
The motors normally only get hot if they're stalled and you send too much current through them. Basically, that's when they start to heat up.
There is one exception. If the developer viewing or updating the code is named Dominic Clifton,
that's the one.
The modified Hydra license applies as below.
Hydra, yeah. Yeah, so I had a very strict license agreement for IRC client software that I wrote, Hydra IRC, which is quite popular. I still use it all the time. And I had a very restrictive license on that for a good reason. And it doesn't apply to the stuff that I'm doing at the moment. And I think Time Got found it was funny because he's basically a troll. So, he just likes to poke people, but I don't care. It's just like, don't care about that stuff.
How excited should we be for your new stuff coming out?
Very.
And can LDO clients, me and Jack, get some sent to us free?
No, because as I explained earlier, the part cost is high, and they are
It's worth
available
a
in
try.
limited numbers. Yeah, good try. Everyone will be trying that. No, I would love to be able to hand them out as like free cakes, you know, but the reality of the situation is I've had to just spend a whole boatload of money getting a whole,
Yeah.
you know, these things made up, and this money's got to come from somewhere.
It's
And,
it's actually
yeah, I
amazing
mean,
how much you spend. You just told me how much you spend before we went live, and I was like, oh my god, no wonder you know.
yeah, when you're making a new product, you have to order like a certain quantity of them before the manufacturing houses will even talk to you. So if you're doing like less than 1,000, your choices are few and far between. If you're doing less than 500, your choices are even fewer. And you don't necessarily always want to be making a load of these boards if you're not even sure whether you can sell them, whether people will want to pay for them. Because what I've learned over the last couple of years, there seems to be this finite point where if you try and sell something over a certain price point, that people just aren't going to want to buy it. Compounded with that is the demand of retailers for about a 20 to 30% margin. So when you're running on very low margins and you've got to compete with the Chinese price, then trying to release a new product in today's market where there's no room for error, and it's just really, really difficult trying to keep the prices down in small limited quantities. So
I don't know why anyone buys clones. I've had clones before. It's just but they're never worth it. They're never ever worth it. The time you've used it and they go wrong easily. They just don't fly as well.
Yeah,
it's pointless. You might as well just do the real deal and just buy it.
I banned Tony from buying clones a long time ago.
I bought a couple of dodos and they were just horrific. You know, the real ones I had
the dodo
shipped in from America, they worked fine, but the ones what were cloned were absolutely horrendous.
Well, even the original dodo boards had design faults. I mean, they had to go through about like 3 or 4 revisions of the PCB to get like some basic things just working on it. And it's just like you design a product and they're basically shipping their prototypes, essentially, is what I saw with the original dodo boards. And they used the cheaper processor as well, which only had half of the flash RAM, of course, which wasn't, you know, how we designed to use F3s. We wanted the F3s, the baseline, to be the one with the 256K flash, and they put on the 128K flash. At the time, it fitted, but you know now it doesn't fit in 128. You can't use an original dodo board, but you can still use an original SP Racing F3. And the design of the original SP Racing F3 never had to be revised in its entire history, because it was done right to start with. So whereas the dodo board, it had to like I say 3 or 4 different revisions on it where they kept screwing things up.
Always buy original. It's not worth it. Is there anything better than F4 going to come out? Is like,
well, I mean, there's quite a few F7 boards. Like there's a Fury one. I think Maytech are probably doing one. There's omnibus ones. Yeah, there's a bunch of F7 stuff. The thing with the F7s at the moment is the code isn't quite there. The process is very new, and the developers, myself included, haven't yet had enough experience with them to get the most out of them. So we're finding out new stuff with these processors like all the time. Even just working on the boards is pretty difficult. So like, I mean, I can show you like on my desk here. I've got this little thing here. Where is it? This is a debugger. So normally you buy a debugger and you plug it into your board and you can go debug your processor, and away you go. But because some of the F7 processors are so new, the firmware on the debugger doesn't support it. So then you go, okay, can I have a debugger that works with F7? And no. They're really, really hard to find. It's like the ones that come on the original ST boards, they sort of work, but the ST Link software is a bit and there's better debug software out. So even just writing code for an F7 is a pain in the ass at the moment. Just getting it onto the processor and running it, it's just there's problems.
Like my I'm running an F4 board with Betaflight on, and when it's running, it's like 3%.
You're breaking up there.
Is it because it can run even faster, or
You broke up there. I couldn't. I missed that. Start again.
Sorry, Tony, we can't hear you.
yeah? I'm running an F4 board at the moment.
Yeah.
And with everything working, it's like 3%.
Yeah.
That's not flying. That's on the bench.
Yeah.
So
on the bench, it's doing more than it is when it's flying. By the way, so
is it really?
you have to remember that. Yeah, because you've got a USB connection to it, right? And then it's got to answer like, how fast are you going? How fast are you going? How fast are you going? Like all the time. When it's flying, like it just sits there going, yeah, ready, let's go.
Okay, so my point is, what is it? If we go F7, like people are doing, what is the point and what will it improve?
Well, there's various things. So the F4 is a bad choice for flight controllers in terms of like the electronic side of things, because it doesn't support things natively that the F3 does, like such as the invertible serial ports. So then you need additional inverters, which increases the cost of it. So it's not only the processor's more expensive, you need a whole bunch of other things. Plus you need more room to put all the different jumpers on to move, you know, I want an inverter on or not. And most of the F4 boards don't have telemetry, for instance. They don't have smart port telemetry. There's only a few that do. So the F4 is not the greatest choice in that. The F7 has basically got all the nice things from the F3 in terms of like the I/O flexibility, but it also brings with it much faster clock speed, which is what we want if we're running and not overclocking things. If we want to run, you know, 32 kilohertz gyros, as well as all the other features that people want, like active filtering and or dynamic filtering and so on like that, which eat CPU cycles. So yeah, F7s are definitely a better choice than the F4s.
So that's the new thing. Then it's going to be F7.
Yep, definitely. And it's
they're
also available. Sorry to talk over you. They're also available with larger amounts of flash RAM. So what you're also seeing is tighter integration these days, and you know, more things like VTX protocols and all this kind of stuff. So with an F7, you don't have to choose between what you put on it in terms of like the software. You can put everything that Cleanflight and Beatflight support on it. Whereas with the F3s and F4s, a lot of them are using the smaller flash ROM, so you can't fit all of the features on it, so you have to choose between it, and then it's a trade-off thing, and that's a pain in the ass.
So F7 is a new. Go on, Jack. Or we look out for then.
Yep.
Go, Jack.
Apparently, we're really laggy.
We are. I don't know what's happening.
I've got a request. Can you write this name down? The Guinness. Oh no, wrong person. Sorry.
Yeah, I've got some weird shit going on my
computer.
computer.
Oh yeah, the Guinness. Post cost many times too much to here in Finland, at least. Guinness buys a board from you.
Yeah.
Will you post it to him, economy, and as a gift?
I know the postage on the site is a problem. We're restricted in that regard because what happens is that you'll get someone and they'll buy a board and they'll say, we didn't receive it. And then you have to send them a new one. And in today's marketplace and you can blame the cloners quite a bit for this as well, because what's happened, like I say, we're running on very low profit margins. So if someone loses a board and we have to send a new one because it doesn't turn up in the post, then we have to pay for the cost of two boards, and then that wipes out any profit. We have to pay for 2 lots of postage, and there's no refund on that. So we have to send everything out recorded delivery so that we know it gets there. Because otherwise what happens is the person receiving the board then files a complaint with PayPal, and then the money gets taken out of our bank account straight away without any questions asked. So that's
economy recorded.
However, this situation will be changing when I move to Spain, because the Spanish postage service is much cheaper than the rip-off Royal Mail crap that we have to do at the moment. When I moved back from Spain, I had to increase the prices by about £4. Not £4 for the postage, but an increase of about £4. It's ridiculous. So the Spanish postage is good. It works. Everything gets there. So that'll be happening soon. So all the European people are going to be happy, and all the UK people are going to be going, damn it, the postage is just like, oh, it's less than it is now. Great. Hey, what? So I can actually ship something from Spain to UK for less than the price from UK to UK when I move to Spain. It's that stupid.
Well,
to England.
Well, thank Royal Mail, basically, is the answer.
that's, no,
Petition them.
no,
Yeah, just throw eggs at them or something. I don't know.
That is hilarious.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about a sabotage plan for the cloners, like releasing like the clone, the seriously
Yeah.
pro clone, and
No,
like
because
being like
I mean,
my new board and keeping it under wraps?
they're not that stupid. They're not that stupid.
No, but then have it like, you know, rigged so that as soon as they put a fake part on there or a cheaper part, it just blows up.
No, it's not worth my time doing it. I've
It
got
would be
better things to
funny,
do. Like I say, I'd rather just spend time creating cool stuff.
Andy RC asks, how can we stop the clones?
Not buying them. That is the only way you will stop them.
Yeah.
They will basically go, oh, we're not making any money. Let's go find something else to do. That is it. That's all you can do. Don't buy them. Tell all your friends.
They never work properly anyway. I don't see the point. Why do people even bother? I know they're cheaper at the time, but there's no point.
That's right.
Absolutely no point.
Yeah.
Any questions, guys, before we go?
Any questions in the chat?
What time is it now? Oh,
Go.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
No Mantis t-shirt on. Hanson here. Please, can you send me a Cleanflight t-shirt? Marco FPV.
I have a box.
Do you sell
there's
t-shirts?
also
For the
Yeah,
UK drone show last
used to.
year, I got a whole bunch of them made, and I do actually have a box of t-shirts. I gave a couple out at the drone FPV league thingy jigamy that was at Alexandra Palace recently. That was good.
Okay.
But there are some. But if people, the best way of getting a Cleanflight t-shirt, the easiest way is to click on the Cleanflight donation button, right, and then in the comments just say, send me a t-shirt, and if your donation is over $15, yeah, then we can sort one out for you and put your address in it and what size.
Rotorus says hello, by the way. Rotorus.
Hello.
Can we get a t-shirt to give away on LDO?
You got to press the donation button. To give away.
Sorry.
Yeah, we can give away. We can give away a t-shirt. I have some t-shirts.
That sounds good. We can do a little compy for that, maybe.
You are going to give a board to Payless 360, aren't you?
Yes, and he normally gets a board because he does some fantastic videos for everybody. He's a very good contributor to the hobby. He saves me a lot of time by answering people's many questions. I think otherwise, without Payless 360's videos, I'd spend a lot more time answering support questions.
How do they get hold of the schematics?
Read out what
they never get the schematics. The cloners you're referring to, right?
Yeah.
They don't get the schematics. They basically just get the circuit board. They take the components off. They take away the mask layer and they etch the board back down, and then they basically work out what the components are and where they all go. And it's not rocket science to clone a flight controller board, because you basically look at the ST datasheet, you look at the datasheet that comes with the accelerometer and the gyro, you look at a couple of other parts on the board, and you can pretty much work out what the components are by what is connected to them. And then you can also measure the parts that you take off, and away you go. And you can work out what the schematic is by reverse engineering like that. They're very, very good at it.
They sit there
Here's
and
a little
the mask off.
Here's a little big up for you. I'm not going to pronounce this right. Matty Carla FBV would like to say, thanks, Dominic. You're one of the few that have made a profound difference to this industry. So there you go. Thank
you very much.
There's a nice thing for people to say.
It's always nice to get good
NA, no,
all the
NM.
drama that goes on in this hobby.
There is a lot of drama at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah. You haven't got a hammer.
Too much drama. Just like whatever. Just go do create stuff. I'll look at it and tell you whether it's cool or not. And I'll do stuff. And if you like it, great, use it. If not, that's fine too. But there's
NMNA asks, Can you explain the pros and details of Pepperfish OSD compared to conventional OSD chip used on current FCs?
Pepperfish, that's what I was trying to remember, yes. I haven't looked at his schematics because I think he publishes schematics, but even he is having problems with the clone that's copying all his stuff. So he is now less willing to share his designs, basically, and until he gets his boards out and so on. Whereas before, I think he used to just like release the schematics and so on like straight away. There has been this sort of stagnation in the OSD side of things for quite a while. I think the only two notable OSDs that I've come across was the one that was on the Vortex, because they used, I think it was an F3 processor for the OSD, and there was also the Brain FPV, which used the main flight controller to the OSD.
But the OSD Doge.
But the most of the boards use the Max chip. The Max 7456 chip, which is character based, which isn't, it's okay. I mean, it's useful, but it's not as good as it should be. And because of this, the Minimo SDs and all this old code and the porting of that code into Betaflight and so on, this Max 74556 chip has been around for much longer than I think it should have been. But now Pepperfish is doing a whole bunch of work in Betaflight to basically make it so that OSD code can then work with other types of OSDs instead of the Max 7456 chip, which is what I initially did in the Cleanflight code about a year ago when I did the F3 OSD board that I made. So it was abstracted away basically, so you could retarget it against any OSD video driver, and then you can have a different implementation. So what my goal was about a year or so ago was to do a first cut of an OSD which uses a Max 7456 chip, and then design a new OSD, which is a vector-based one, which also then used the same code. But yeah, things changed, so that never happened, unfortunately. But it's good to see someone else picking up the reins of that and moving the industry forward, which is good. So I hope he does release the schematics for it, because one thing that's been one of the things that drives this industry is openness, and I think there does need to be some changes in the OSD side of things. But I will totally understand it if he doesn't want to release his schematics, though. Being in the position that I've been in for about the last couple of years or so, seeing how the industry works.
Yeah.
Just feel like you get raped all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
And then also you've got things where people do it, and you're just like, why did you do it like that?
Yeah.
Because not only you, but it's also destroying people's stuff, and it does go wrong.
Yeah.
So it's a shame, really.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it'd be good to see a new OSD that's open source, sort of like design, basically. If he doesn't release the schematics but releases the software, it's, I'm sure that someone else will work out how it actually works based on how the software works. But obviously that becomes a lot much trickier. So if he releases the software first and then releases the schematics later, that'll still be good for everybody, because then he'll make some money for his and get rewarded for his work, which he deserves. And then if he releases it later, then everyone else can benefit from it and, see the OSD in the different form factors and so on. Because while Fish Pepper's designs might suit him and some of the people that fly the same kind of things that he flies, they might also they might not suit other people that want to run different things in different ways. So they don't have any alternative. So it'd be good to see some different alternatives in the physical layout of things, I mean.
Is there any more? No, there isn't.
No more questions. So we can.
I thought I'd be on here forever.
I know, that's it. Like, and you can stay longer. I was just trying to look for. You just reminded me about a connector, and I was like, I was going to be like.
How long have we got to wait, Dom, until we get excited for your new items that will
just start getting excited now, and that'll be okay.
I'm already excited.
There you go then. Woohoo!
I'm saying stuff.
Yeah, get excited.
Good old Tony.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Well, that is
when you see it and try it, you'll wonder how you ever did without it.
You say that again because you cut out. When you see it and try
When you
it,
see it, you'll wonder how you ever did without it.
Wow. You heard it here, folks. Sounds interesting.
Yep. Yeah, it's keeping me very busy.
Yeah.
Learning loads of new stuff. It's cool. I love it.
That's good. We like to keep you busy and
Yeah.
making us fly better, making us look better.
That's it. What's my Firefox machine is completely dead right now. I have no idea what's going on with it. But yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on show. We're
no
really sorry it went all a bit funny and was 20 minutes late and stuff like that.
That's all right.
But it's it's only LDO when it goes wrong.
Yeah, we tried something new, and I think the other Let's Drone Out thing's still running. It's still sat there waiting for someone to click live, unfortunately. Like, there's no way to turn it off until tomorrow at about 10 o'clock.
We will fix things and be back up. It doesn't matter. This all goes to SoundCloud. If you want to listen to this back, guys, this will be on SoundCloud and Apple iTunes in a few months' time, so you can listen to it back.
Some millennium. I'm sorry.
What the?
Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Hydra, Dom, for coming on and saying hi.
Thank you, man. I have nagged you so long.
Yeah.
I've like.
Yes.
Laura,
so why aren't you coming on the show? Why aren't you coming on the show? Why aren't you coming on the show? Come on the show. Come on the show. Come on the show. Come on the show.
I was outraged. I was outraged when you went on the UK. I was like, that's it. We know we're like English.
I know.
You're a traitor. I should deport you like those Australians.
He's
been
deported
anyway.
soon. Yeah, he's going.
And I said, good, bugger off.
Right, you're not coming over to see all the sweet flying spots then.
Yeah, see, get an invite. We'll be there, Dom.
That's it. There is a pool as well. It's good.
Oh, we're there. Definitely send us an invite.
You got to come and do it. That'd be great. I'll have all the flying spots all sorted out and lined up. I've got loads of them already, so I can't wait to get out doing flying.
That actually sounds good.
Fruits
If I get an invite, I will definitely come.
Yeah.
I hope to fly with you again, man. I have not flown with you since.
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, forever. I haven't flown with many people for ages. I think I was flying in Granada in Spain with some of the guys that were at the Drone World Prix. Randomly, they turned out to be very close to where I was in Spain. And I was down a model car track looking at model cars because I haven't done model cars for ages, so that was interesting. And there was a guy down there that had a drone, and I'm like, oh, hello, I see you got a drone. And he's like, oh, what are you running on it? He's like, Betaflight. And I'm like, yeah, it runs my code. That does. That's great. And then it turned out that his mates up in Granada, I'd met one of them before when I was in Dubai, which is hilarious. So yeah, we went flying at this deserted golf course in Granada. Which is absolutely fantastic place to fly. It's just like everything's just perfect. It was great. And there's about 5, 6 or so there, probably a bit more than that, flying up there. That was brilliant. Have a plane out and everything. It was great.
Do you remember flying at the Radio C? That was the first event I went to.
That was hilarious. Yeah, I won that, didn't I? Yeah.
And you won.
I know, it was great. I'm like, oh my God.
You were using your own little secret code to win that, weren't you?
No. I just didn't suck as hard as everybody else. Wait, no.
I was
amazed. I was amazed.
This is the bloke flying with the reverse parking lines on his. What is that about? What was that about?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I never had that. That was Simon. Simon VC had that on his monitor. I didn't have that. No.
It was Simon. Did you fly acro through them or stabilization mode?
No, it's Horizon stuff through that. Horizon's really good in the trees. Yep. If you're doing close proximity stuff, Horizon's really quite handy, actually.
That was over 2 years ago, that was.
Yeah.
It's crazy how quick and how everything's changed.
I don't think I'd do that course even now in acro mode, but maybe that was what everyone else was doing wrong that day. Maybe everyone else was flying acro mode, and then like the quad's basically going too fast in the small confined space that we were going through, and then
It was tiny, wasn't it?
was
That track.
very.
It got easier as you went along because like the trees got cut back from the crashing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember like halfway through the
That was
day there
my
was this
first-
like chopping trees down exercise. I'm like, well, I never had that.
That was my first ever event.
Yeah, I think it was mine as well. Actually, first ever event. Yeah,
You won it, you little git.
ages ago. Yeah, that was good. It was nice to get some money
That
from
was- I think
Fabiano
that-
actually. What with him selling clones of my boards forever. So yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, bastard.
I do. In my defence, I do moan at him constantly.
Good.
So you heard it here first.
Yeah,
Buy
that's all I'm going
ori-
to say.
Yeah.
Do not buy clones. They're not
Yeah.
worth it.
So,
And for
Yeah.
people like Dom who have to sit at home coding and then some little
oik.
beep just clones it, don't do it, lads. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it.
Unless you're on a budget and you're really poor.
No. If you're on a
Even
budget
then-
and really poor, don't fly.
Save up. Don't support the people that ruin the
No,
industry. for everybody.
don't, because I feel for you, man. I really do. I think you should just definitely. I've never buy clone stuff.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Yep,
Ever
that's it.
worth it. So there you go.
Yep.
Well, thanks for joining us.
No worries. No worries.
I hope to maybe
Yeah, we'll do it again after my new stuff's out. Yeah, we'll do it again.
How long have people got to
You
wait?
keep asking, but it's just got to wait. It's just got to wait. It's my stuff is done when it's done.
Okay.
Right? It's not rushed out, basically. So it's done when it's done.
Okay. So
It's not on
when
with
it's out, we'll have you back on, and then you can
Yeah.
tell everyone
Tell you all about it. Yeah.
what you done and how you did it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think you'll have to
Do
try
you
it
remember the
first.
OSD Doge?
Say that
OSD
again.
Doge? Anyone?
Oh
OSD
yeah,
Doge?
yeah.
Oh man, that brings happiness to me. Right, thank you. You've been listening to Let's Drone Out. It has been chatting to Dominic Clifton, Mr Cleanflight,
Jack's
Wave
audio's
and say
going
thank
badly.
you.
and then Tony Boney.
Cheers. Only macaroni.
Macaroni.
here,
And I've been right, so I was like, or Jack. Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We will be on Let's Drone Out. Let's Drone Out has its own channel. If you're listening to this, go. If you're wondering why there hasn't been a live stream on my channel for a while, it's because we had a stream that was running, and it's Let's Drone Out. It's a related channel on my YouTube. You can just subscribe there. It's in all the other videos as well. And we'll be on there next week, hopefully. If Dickie Dan ever logs out. So, thank you. And see you next Thursday.
All right.